Hey everybody, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. So we are going to do our next design team project for Not2Shabby, and you know the drill. Here's your coupon code, Mary10, 10% off your order over at the shop. Sunny Studios is the star of the show today because this small stamp set is just so cute. And so I'm going to play with it. It's very similar to a card I did recently for a light up card, but I have matching dies for this stamp set. These little cuties are too much for me. I can't even. But I'm going to show you how there's so many things you can do with a small stamp set. But the star of the show is the set. But then all the elements you can put on the back of your card really could make it just come alive. So I'm going to be coloring today with my alcohol markers, the Ohuhu ones, which I got the 80 set. And here's a color chart for those that I made. It's a lot easier for your coloring if you do a color chart. You can email me for mine if you have this 80 set. That's fine. I'd love to share it. But I will tell you that whatever coloring system you have, if you do a color chart, especially when it's a blending medium, such as alcohol markers or even the watercolor pens, when you know what is going to blend together, it makes the process not only easier, but more enjoyable. I hadn't done that with my Spectrum Noir, and looking back on it, I really wish I did. I had a Spectrum Noir chart that basically I filled in what they told me I should fill in, but I didn't really do the blending. When you put it bare onto a piece of paper, you can see what colors go in sequential order and what's going to work together. And so I can't stress that enough. I enjoy alcohol marker blending now. I think that was part of the reason why I didn't enjoy it as much with my Spectrum Noir, aside from a couple other issues I was having with the markers. But I have committed to the Arteza brand, the Ohuhu, and my master markers, making the color charts. And so if you saw my review on that, I did that, and I'm willing to share any of those. So those are the 3 color charts I have. So email me and I could send that to you. But anyway, short story long, makes my life easier. I am coloring up these cuties to look very different. So we have a dirty blonde hair on the right hand side with fair skin, and we have brown hair with darker skin on the left hand side. You want to make sure that you maximize your stamps as much as possible. So you could make your little images look however they want and maybe even mimic someone that you're giving them to, so they could look just like them. I think it's adorable. If I were to get a card with a little person on it that looked like me, it'd be so cute. So that's the intent there. And it's funny, I've shown my kids this, and of course Adia just loves any cutesy type stamps. But this girl on the left looks exactly like her friend that she left in Florida, her best friend that she left in Florida. So, of course, she immediately wanted to take this card and send it to her. She wants to take all the cards and send them out, which I think is great. All right, so I'm coloring up this. Now I'm going to move on to this teal like aqua color here. And you can see I put the caps all on the screen right there so you can see which colors, numbers I'm using. I like this brand of marker because they use a number system. Number system doesn't make any sense to me as far as how they go in order, but I like that they're numbers that you can see. So it helps me when I put them on the screen for you. All right, so I'm coloring up. I'm going to keep doing that. Let me tell you why you haven't seen me in a week. I looked back on the history of my channel, and I think over the last 4 months, I have been posting 3 to 4 times a week. But this last week, I haven't done one video, and that is because, as some of you know, I went home to Pennsylvania. My mom was hospitalized for about a week, and then I went up. I'm about 3 hours away. I went up and I took some time off from work to be there with her as she came home from the hospital, and I was with her every day and helping her, and she is definitely on the mend. This is an illness that is going to go away, and she's going to be back to zipping around in no time. So that is awesome. I'm so excited about that. It was wonderful to spend this time with her. I disconnected pretty much from the rest of the world for a week, and it was just so special. So I really enjoyed being there for her, and I know she appreciates it. So it was just a nice time, and we just had a good time. So I'm back home now, back in Maryland, and we're back to crafting. I haven't done a voiceover in forever, though, it feels like. So I'm feel rusty. All right, I'm going to get to ink blending here. So I do smooth cardstock, or I think this one might be watercolor, actually. This one is. But I'm going to use this Salty Ocean and then Blueprint Sketch. And I'm just doing a background for a sky. I'm using the makeup brushes, so as you've heard me say in the past, makeup brushes are so easy to use. They make things seamless and fast, and no harsh lines, and really no effort. So I would highly recommend that. I used to get a really sore arm from using those blending tools, and this I don't even notice. I also started holding it by the nozzle, the brush head, so you can see me doing that. That's a little bit easier to control too. I'm working on a Tim Holtz glass mat, and that's easy cleanup. And now I'm pulling out this Ranger Ultra Thick Embossing Powder. I love this stuff for many reasons, one being the water look that I'm going to get. Again, I did this in a recent video, and I'll link that at the end. But you pour it on, of course, the sticky Versamark ink, and then pour this on. Now, if you start putting the blower, I was going to say the heat torch, this thing, the heat gun, from the front, on the front of it, your powder's going to blow everywhere. So it's best if you get it real hot and then heat it from the back of your cardstock. I chose watercolor cardstock to make this a lot sturdier. And here you have this really fun watery look. If you want that to be a very smooth, clean, and clear, all one dimension, just put another 1 or 2 coats of that embossing powder and you will get that. That's what's great about it. It just kind of all melts together. But I like that look of the water look. So we're sticking with it. I am going to use my Gemini Junior die cutting machine here, and I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn wavy dies. And that's going to give me the waves I want on the back side of my panel. Pulling out my Fiskars trimmer. I think I use this Fiskars trimmer more than any trimmer in my stash because it's handy, it's right there at my fingertips, and it's easy. Plus it fits in the screen. It works for me. So I'm going to cut that down now. I'm doing that with the wave, and then also I did a Hillside border die with some tan or craft cardstock. So I'm going to add this little water droplet look to the sky because I think that's just fun. Adds another element. And I probably could have done that to the water before I heat embossed it. That would have been fun. And then here is where I lose a member of my crafting community. Sometimes these things happen, but I don't know what I was even doing right here. Like, as if I was going to miraculously fix this piece that came off. It just did not work out. I had to say goodbye. All right, so we're moving on from the broken punch, and I am going to cut out with this little memory box sun I have in my stash, color it with some Distress Oxide, and then I'm going to start to put down my card and bring this whole thing together. I laid down the first wave panel, which I should have laid down the top one first, because as you can see, I pretty much put adhesive all the way to the top of that wave, and then I'm sitting there going, how am I going to get this thing in there? I'm going to have to pull this all apart. It's not going to work. So I pulled out my trimmer again, and I cut down a lot off of that other wave. Put a piece of adhesive on that, and then just kind of shimmied this through there to make it stick. The front wave kind of pops up a little bit still on the top, but I like that. I think it gives it dimension. It's fun. I'm adding the sun with some art glitter glue, and then I'm going to take my scissors, my Tim Holtz scissors, and I'm going to chop that sun off in just a second. But here I take the sentiment. I like to make sure that the sentiment is straight first. So I'll try it out on some scrap paper. So I showed you me doing that. I'm going to take some Versafine Clair Nocturne ink because that is my favorite ink for heat embossing with clear and sentiments. And I stamped out Hi There Cutie. And then, of course, I'm going to add my last element to the front, which is going to be the hillside, but also like the sand mound. And this is where the cutie on the front is going to be playing in the sand. So I get that down. Double-sided score adhesive was my friend for this video because sticking to that really shiny, clear, thick embossing powder is difficult with liquid glue. So I didn't want to take any chances. I just used some strong adhesive. And again, putting it on, I think I used liquid adhesive I did for the front girl, But then I used some double-sided adhesive for this one going on the embossing waves. And so that's going to make sure I have confidence in my card. It's going to stick with no issues. So I'm getting that ready, placing that down. And she's kind of going to hang out on the top of the wave because she's in a cute little floaty there. Okay, and then I'm going to trim up that sun like we talked about. And this way we're going to have a really nice clean edge and look to the card. And so that is pretty much the hardest part of this card, which I found to be extremely fun. The last things I'm going to do here, just some final elements. I'm going to add dots of brown marker. This is a fine tip marker and from Staedtler, and that's going to give me that little sandy look. And then I'm going to take my white gel pen for some pieces and some elements here to add some highlights. So I highlight the hat and then, of course, the floaty, because floaties are usually shiny. You could use Nouveau Glaze for that, or glossy accents, or just a white highlight to give the illusion that it's shiny. And I also put highlights on her little goggles as well. And that will do it for the card. Thanks so much for stopping by, for hanging out with us. Head over to Jamie's shop, Not2Shabby, and check out what she has in store. Always great deals, lots of great prices, lots of new stuff always coming in. So check it out. Don't forget to use Mary10 for 10% off your order. I'll list everything I used below. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.